I read a lot of Wikipedia articles all the time. I'm reading Wikipedia articles, and I came into this information about Samantabhadra, and I had researched it before, but I really didn't know too much about it, and I had researched some things about the Adi Buddha, which is what Samantabhadra is, before, but I didn't find too much information about it, although I was really interested to find out more about it. And then recently, on a Wikipedia page, I saw mention of the Kulayarāja Tantra, which means the all-creating king Tantra. The all-creating king Tantra is a Buddhist Tantra extant in Tibet, which centers upon the direct teachings of the primordial ultimate Buddha, Adi Buddha Samantabhadra, it says on the Wikipedia article. Samantabhadra is presented or personified in this tantric Buddhist text as bodhicitta, the awakened mind, the mind of perfect purity. In Kunjed Galpo, Samantabhadra discourses to Vajrasattva, who asks questions and clarification. This tantric work is the principal mind series, text of Dzogchen View, the Nyingma sect of Himalayan Mantrayana. So in the Kulayarāja Tantra, Samantabhadra tells of how that he, the all-creating king, is the essence of all things, beings, and all Buddhas, and that to know him, the awakened mind, is to attain the essence of reality. He says, I am the existential ground of the Buddhas, and the root of all things is nothing else but one self. I am the place in which all things abide. O you sentient beings of this, for a being to recognize their own bodhicitta, or Samantabhadra Buddha, eternally existent, is to be liberated. Because sentient beings and all their phenomena arise because of bodhicitta, or mind of perfect purity, Samantabhadra refers to them in his teaching as his children. Samantabhadra Buddha states, O all you sentient beings of this threefold world, i.e. the entire universe, both visible and invisible, because I, the all-creating sovereign, have created you, you are my children and equal to me. Because you are not second to me, I am present in you. O you sentient beings of this threefold world, if I were not, you would be non-existent, because all things do not exist outside of me. I firmly declare that I am all, the all-creating one. Samantabhadra also insists, everything is me, the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity. I am the cause of all things. I am the stem of all things. I am the ground of all things. I am the root of all things. There is no other Buddha besides me, the all-creating one. It belongs to the nature of the unconditioned primal awareness or awakened mind that is eternal, indestructible, and radiant with light. The characteristic of the self-originated, pristine awareness is indestructibility, which is known as the place where all is light. Also, quote-unquote, the three aspects of my nature are to be known as follows: 1. Unborn, 2. Without termination, and 3. The source for the wonder of ceaseless creation. My own being, my svabhava, is the sole reality. This ultimate basis of reality, Samantabhadra Buddha, is also occasionally termed Rigpa. It is taught to reside in all beings and to be realizable. It is wisdom, the immortal essence, that is beyond thinking, and which permeates the nature and mind of all things. It is the spontaneous thought transcending instant presence of all-encompassing awareness. It might be linked to the notion of Tathagata Garbha, which is interesting because when I was reading this, it reminds me exactly of the kind of style of the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, which talked about the Tathagata Garbha. The style is very much in the affirmative, talking about things which transcend even Buddhism, which transcend especially the Theravada interpretation, the Hinayana interpretation, which transcend the small view of the teachings. A Theravada Buddhist would recoil at what all of this is talking about. They would say that there's no svabhava. And from one angle they're right. But ultimately, there is. Because they're implying even a svabhava on no svabhava. Everything has to be some kind of essence. You can't get away from it. So they just juggle and play word games and... Anyway. Let's see. It might be linked to the notion of Tathagata Garbha, which is stated to be the pure essence at the very heart of mind. However, all figures, i.e. Samantabhadra, Vairocha, and Vajratara, are traditionally understood to be personifications of emptiness, the true nature of all phenomena. Although emptiness is not a major theme of this particular Tantra, this being is the personification of sunyata, or emptiness. That all phenomena lack true existence, yet still appear, this basis that is found in all phenomena. Other Tibetan traditions envision this Tantra different manner and see it not as a negative envision this Tantra in a different manner and see it not as a negative emptiness, but a fullness and an all-fulfilling perfection of Buddhic mind and virtue as constituting the heart of all that is. Beautiful. Samantabhadra Buddha states, from the three aspects, i.e. the unborn, no-ending source of the wonder of ceaseless creation of my nature, i.e. the nature, that of the all-creating one, comes the fullness which fulfills all needs. And what is known as the revealed Buddha is this evidence of my own being. Because it has the center, the central vigor, it is the self of everything. As it does not need any deeds, it is the Buddha since the beginning. As it is free of striving and achieving, it is since the beginning known as great. The great self is known as the great Buddha. This evidence, which is unborn and non-conceptual, is the dimension of reality, that is the Dharma Dhatu. So earlier, what we were talking about when we read Nagarjuna's in praise of the Dharma Dhatu, we were talking about that same thing. This evidence, which is the unborn, non-conceptual, is the dimension of reality, Dharma Dhatu. So the Dharma Dhatu is nothing other than Samantabhadra, the all-creating king, i.e. God. This reality is utterly unconditioned, non-dependent, and full of bliss. It alone knows itself. There is not one thing which is dependent on another. This great self-perfected bliss will intuitively be understood by the strength of the self, which is incomparable, pristine awareness. Ultimate Buddhic reality, described in the scripture as pure and total consciousness, is presented as fundamental essential substance not engendered by causes and conditions, a true essence that is possessed of self-arisen wisdom that governs all things, both animate and inanimate, and which bestows life on all. Consciousness means that self-arising wisdom, the true essence, dominates and clearly perceives all phenomena of the animate and inanimate universe. This self-arising fundamental substance, not produced by causes and conditions, governs all things and gives life to all things. In the recondite realm, all speculation and conceptualization is inadequate, and only direct perception of Samantabhadra Buddha can disclose the ultimate truth. All that exists is my own being. The entirety of the animated and inanimated world is my own being. Outside of my own being, nothing is. Therefore, the root of all things consists in me. Not one thing exists that does not consist in me. And here is the actual Kulayarāja Tantra we're going to read from. Beginning. The all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, is a Buddhist scripture, the Kulayarāja Tantra. What distinguishes it from many other Buddhist texts is the timeliness of its ideas. It constitutes a radical attempt towards deconstructing Buddhist philosophy and presents a rather unusual feminist perspective of Buddhist spirituality. Regardless of the origin of the text, which is still largely veiled in mystery, the text in itself speaks loud and clear and delivers a message germane to the present. The text is adamant in saying that being, quote-unquote, is the center and depth of existence. thus accessible in everyday experience. More than any other Buddhist scripture, the Kulayarāja Tantra states, the fleeting existence, samsara, is in its depth being, i.e. a dynamic process of complete integration, nirvana. This consummation may well be described as divine reality of a feminine dimension. Here's the key to understanding the text, what he said. This consummation of the fleeting existence, samsara, with the dynamic process of complete integration, nirvana, is described as the divine reality of a feminine dimension. This divine reality, the text argues, must never be appropriated through our conceptual thinking or through the process of defining and naming it. So, as a feminine dimension, it represents nothing, not a shaped essence, as it says here. Thus, one has to include all exists is already in a process of consummation. Being as such understood as a dynamic spinning and not an essence is Buddhahood. So hence the feminine emphasis which the text has. Let's see. The divine reality, the text argue, must never be appropriated through a conceptual thinking or through the process of defining and naming it. Thus, the doctrinal structure of Buddhism is not only questioned but deconstructed and eventually rejected. The natural corollary is then that there is no spiritual goal to achieve, i.e. nirvana, no religious practice to perform, i.e. the path to enlightenment, neither disciple nor Buddha. In other words, the entirety of the Buddhist doctrine and practical system is brushed aside by a Buddhist text. Well, seemingly anyway. I mean, this is ultimately the truth of the Buddhist text, is just to realize the nature of what is, of suchness, tattva. These seemingly extreme positions are maintained on the ground that all exists due to, that all that exists does so due to, quote-unquote, pristine awareness as the dynamic of being. Thus, one has to conclude all that exists is already in the process of consummation. Being as such understood as a dynamic spinning and not as an essence is Buddhahood. The world in its manifold variety is a manifestation of the pristine awareness which endows all that exists with order and intelligibility. Consequently, the world is beautiful, and the Kulayarāja Tantra admonishes its reader to enjoy the beauty, this beauty. Even what appears to be ignorant, to the ignorant eye as ugly and painful, reveals its intrinsic beauty to the sage. With this message, the Kulayarāja Tantra opens a new dimension in Buddhist thought. Sarva Dharma Mahashanti Bodhicitta Kulayarāja. Homage to the all-creating sovereign, the mind of complete purity, the victorious one. At a time this sermon was taught in the realm no below, Akanishta, where reality is like the sky, and the dimension of reality itself, the Dharmadhatu, like the vastness of the sky. There is the place where mind itself exists. In the untainted mansion of pristine awareness, the all-creating sovereign's own being, her actuating essence, her compassion and pristine awareness became manifest as various retinues in the following way. So they switch, they go from him to her, him, her, and esoterically, the Purusha is the thing which is being qualified. The Prakriti, or the female, is the quality itself. So they speak of him as the qualified, and when they talk about the quality, they speak of her. So they say her actuating essence, her compassion. But they say the own being belongs to the Dharma, to Samantabhadra. So you have a divine couple, just in the same sense as we say that Krishna, his qualities are exemplified in Radha. That's how it's taught in Vaishnavism. And that there's this inseparable link between the god and the goddess. So in the same way, Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri, the ultimate mother and ultimate father, are described in the similar Vedic way. But I mean, that's really to be expected. So anyway, the retinue emerging from her own being is known as the retinue of truth manifestation, Dharmakaya. So the the Dharmakaya emerges from the sphere of the ultimate mother. The retinue of her actuating essence, the manifestation of consummate joy, Shambhokaya, is called the retinue of the element earth, retinue of element water, retinue of element fire, retinue of element wind, retinue of element sky. Furthermore, the manifesting of her compassion and pristine awareness as retinues in form of corporeal manifestations happen in this way. The retinue known as sentient beings of the realm of desire, Kamaloka, the retinue known as sentient beings of the realm of form, Rupaloka, and the retinue of sentient beings known as the realm of formlessness, Arupaloka. Furthermore, the retinue equal to her own being correspond to the 4 yogas, the retinue of Ati Yoga, Anu Yoga, Mahayoga, and Bodhisattva Yoga. As her own being, her actuating essence and her compassion are inseparable from her nature, there is only one method. Furthermore, the retinue cognizing her own being as are such, the retinue resting in her, i.e. the Buddhas of the past, the retinue realizing her objective, i.e. the present Buddhas, the retinue that brings forth her deeds, i.e. the Buddhas to come later. Because they are inseparable from her own being, there is only one method. After that, the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, absorbed into her mind and heart all the retinues, so that they were blessed with her own being. She then let the self-originated pristine awareness become lucid. To endow all things with reality, she then dwelt as one in the void focus, Bindu, after she united all things. So she dwelt within the Bindu after she had united all things. After that, Semstava Dorji, who abided through her in her great void focus of her own being, emerged from this state and sat down with a mind of joy and pure and bright appearance in front of the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity. The all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, spoke to Semstapa Dorji. Semstapa Dorji, Emaho, generate a mind of joy, Emaho, produce a pure and bright countenance, Emaho, you have come forth from me, Emaho. Thus she spoke. Then Semstapa Dorji addressed her, O teacher of the teachers, all-creating sovereign, is the void focus of the non-conceptual also the teacher herself, or is the void focus of the non-conceptual also the entity of retinues, the entirety of retinues, or is the void focus of the non-conceptual also the entirety of teachings, or is the void focus also the time and place, or how does the teacher of teachers teach if anything abides in the nature of this void focus? How does the teacher of teachers teach if everything abides in this nature of this void focus? For what purpose do the retinues circulate as her retinues? Why is a teaching taught to the retinues? How can it be that time and place are one? Thus he asked. After the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, gave Semstapa Dorji the following instruction. O great Bodhisattva, direct your mind towards this instruction. Let me explain the meaning. O Semstapa Dorji, mind as such, the all-creating sovereign, I, the all-creating sovereign, am the central vigor of all things. This central vigor, which is non-conceptual, is the primordial void focus. The void focus, in its final value, is without conceptualization from the primordial. The teacher, the teachings, the retinues, the time and place, they emerged from me as the primordial void focus, My own being is known as the void focus. Such the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, spake. So let's see, what does vigor mean literally? Vigor literally means energy, force. Vigor means an energy or force, a strength. So when she says, I am the central the central vigor of all things, this central vigor, which is non-conceptual, is the primordial void focus. So everything is connected through space, which is void, created out of space, which is void. Mind is like space. Mind occupies the layer above void. And so everything emerges from space, from void. Hence, yogis are able to transform their bodies into another thing, or to acquire any item from any part of the universe. They can do all kinds of magic things because of this void nature, because of space, the nature of space, and because of this central vigor, this central energy which is flowing out of space, flowing out of the void from any point. Any given point is connected to this. Just like stars in the sky, all the points are connected by this vigor, this energy, just like the light of the stars connects to one another. This energy is connecting everybody together. And the energy is always feminine. Shakti, Kundalini, Shakti is always a feminine goddess spirit. And it's always in Hinduism, the Vedic religion, creation, the active part of creation is always through the feminine energy. So, Samantabhadra and Samantabhadri are not really two, but they're one. They're of the nature of not two. Just like Radha and Krishna are known as not two, but the same thing. Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri are not distinct, and yet they are, because one is embodying the life, the very life, the energy. There's a verse I remember reading that said something like Radha had hidden or something, and Krishna's whole life was drained, and he said that it's as if the life breath left him. So the energy itself is exemplified by the feminine. And someone told me that in certain Shakta traditions in where is that place? By Kashmir, females are venerated. If you get a tantric initiation from a female guru, it's seen as stronger than a male guru, and that would make sense in this model where females represent the energy aspect. So they're inseparable. The ultimate energy sustaining all. What they're trying to get across is this ultimate energy which is sustaining all things is connected. It's just one energy. One ultimate mother is birthing all things. And this is Samantabhadri. Is what they're trying to get across. So let's continue. After that, the all-creating sovereign, the mind of complete purity, dwelt in what we call a contemplation samadhi of all things emerge from her. Then Semspadorji arose from the own being of the retinues, and, approaching with smiling face the teacher, the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, asked her and sat down. O teacher of teachers, all-creating sovereign, as I am in an integrated way present in your retinues, What is then the objective of my existence? Please teach me about the objective of my existence. Such he spoke. Then the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, laid out all things on the basis of her own being, her actuating essence, and her compassion, that from the one self-originated awareness, the 5 great self-originated awarenesses come is as follows. The great self-originated awareness as hatred, as attachment, as ignorance, as jealousy, as pride. These 5 self-originated awarenesses bring forth the 5 great elements as cause of adornment. She set up the 3 great realms as a receptacle of what is perishable, that the cause of adornment obtained in its 5 forms as one is as follows. There is a form of earth as the cause of adornment. There's a form of water, fire, wind, and sky as causes of adornment. All these forms were obtained as one. The 5 awarenesses which organize according to the 5 families, quote-unquote, the family of the self-originated awareness of hatred, that of awareness of attachment, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. The beautiful appearances of the forms of the families associated with these 5 self-originated awarenesses was set up as the reality of those endowed with a body, i.e. sentient beings. As reality was set up in accord with her own being, even the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, dwelt in this manner. Then Senfla Dorje again abode in front of the all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity. O teacher, O all-creating sovereign, from this self-originated awareness, one with your mind, the 5 forms of self-originated awareness come, and from that the 5 causes of adornment come. O all-creating sovereign, what is the reason for this fact that the 5 self-originated awareness adopt 5 different forms? Such he asked. The all-creating sovereign, the mind of perfect purity, explained further. O great Bodhisattva, this you must know. Besides me, the all-creating sovereign, the maker, there is no other maker. None besides me creates reality. None besides me establishes the teacher's 3 forms of manifestation. None besides me establishes the host of retinues. None besides me establishes the things as they are, ta-ta-ta, in their own reality, or in their reality. Senspa Dorje, by me you are. I shall show you my own being. My own being has 3 aspects. My own being is the mind of perfect purity. Pure is taught to be the nature of the limpid in its 3 aspects of totality. Perfect is taught as the nature of limpid as encompassing the 3 reasons. The limpid is all-encompassing like sky. The nature of what is called mind is taught as the ceaseless, all-encompassing, all-creating sovereign. Everything is made, all is generated in the mind of perfect purity. Such she spoke. Then the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity, spoke about how I have become in the past the maker of all things. How I have become in the past the maker of all things. O great Bodhisattva, lend your mind to the ear. Understand my words by virtue of listening. Oh, I am the all-creating sovereign. I am the mind of perfect purity, the maker of all. If I were not existent in the past, no vigor were there for all things to originate. If I were not existent in the past, no sovereign were there who made all things. If I were not existent in the past, none were there to be a teacher from the primordial. If I were not existent in the past, none were there to teach from the primordial. If I were not existent in the past, that which was known as the retinues would not be there from the primordial. Sensva Dorje, do not have doubts. Also you, O great Bodhisattva, are an emanation of me. Such she spoke. Then Senspa Dorje addressed the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity. O all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity, you are from the primordial, the great one. Because you, the creator of teacher, teaching, and retinue, as well as of all things, have made them, how then do all things come into existence? It seems that you, the creator, have made them. Has then one teacher appeared as many? Is there one teaching or many? Are the retinues one or many? Such he asked. Then the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity spoke again. O the self-originated pristine awareness. O the self-originated pristine awareness, sole teacher of all, appears as the three aspects of my own being. And with regard to the number of teachers, they came into existence as three, because I am one with suchness. The reality of all things is suchness. Nothing is except myself, i.e. the mind of perfect purity. From me emanated the teachers' three forms of manifestation that teach the retinues the three forms of teachings. My actuating essence has been manifest as one, and because my own being is declared to be one, all is one as my, i.e., the all-creating sovereign's retinue. But the retinue of the teachers, though emanating from me, are of three divisions. Such she spoke. Senspa Dorji asked, O teacher of the teachers, all-creating sovereign, from you the teacher's three forms of manifestation emanated. But is there a path for the sentient beings to your stage or not? If not, can one reach your stage or not? If so, does one reach it by means of progressing on the spiritual path or by not progressing? The all-creating sovereign says, Listen, great Bodhisattva, the teacher's three forms of manifestation emanate from me, but there is no path on which you could proceed towards my stage. I have shown the self-originated pristine awareness, but all the Buddhas of the three times have taught the retinues associated with the teacher's three forms of manifestation a universal path, i.e. the path of liberation in 5 stages, the path of self-originated pristine awareness, or attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy. This is the true universal path, i.e. the 5 aspects of self-originated pristine awareness. So she said, Samspa Dorje, O teacher of teachers, the all-creating sovereign, expound the 5 paths in accordance with the self-originated pristine awareness. How has come to be what is known as self-originated? What are the synonyms for the term awareness? What is given as meaning of path? I beg you to expound the meaning of the 5 paths as to the 5 aspects: attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy. Such he asked. Great Bodhisattva, with regard to the path of the 5 aspects of the self-originated pristine awareness, it is as follows. Self-originated is said because it is without cause and condition. Pristine awareness, it is said because it is lucid in its ceaselessness. There is no reason to proceed on this path, as it is without cause or conditions. The 5 self-originated pristine awarenesses are known as the 5 paths on which one cannot progress. Desire is to want things for oneself. Attachment is to covet that which one desires for oneself. Mind is nature of unborn, and wrath is to hate its miraculous variety. Ignorance is not to achieve clarity about the diverse diversions of sameness and reality through meditating on non-conceptual. I am the unerring mind of perfect purity. In that suchness I am sovereign from the primordial, because everything is one in suchness. To appreciate and depreciate the notion of existence and non-existence will create a jealous feeling. This is the explanation of the 5 paths on which there is no progress. O great Bodhisattva, listen. All things, in the way they appear, come forth from these 5 paths of the self-originated pristine awareness. The realm of desire is the self-originated pristine awareness, so the realm of form, formlessness, because I, the all-creating sovereign, have created them. All things made by me are known as the actuation of the pristine awareness. That all the beings of the 6 different categories living in the threefold worlds are not the self-originated pristine awareness. Such I have never proclaimed. Furthermore, I do not say that the mind of perfect purity is not the progenitor of all Buddhas. The all-creating sovereign's nature is declared as the 3 aspects of reality. The unborn reality does not truly appear, but is explained as the realm of formlessness. With regard to the wonders of existence's form, it is taught as the realm of form. Given the fact compassion comes forth in an actuation of pristine awareness, compassion becomes manifested as the realm of desire in order to exhaust the karma of good luck and ill by compassion. Such she spoke. Then the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity, gave the following talk about the reality of names given to her own being. O great Bodhisattva, listen. From the primordial I am the self-originated pristine awareness. From the primordial, I am the central vigor of all things. I am the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity. A bodhisattva ought to understand my name. If a bodhisattva recognizes my name, he or she will understand all things without exception. I am called the central vigor, as I am the central vigor of all things. I am called self-originated because I am totally beyond the scope of striving and achieving, and as central vigor, I am free of causes and conditions. I am called pristine awareness because, by virtue of this ceaseless and stainless awareness, I am the teacher of all things. I am known as mind of perfect purity. The meaning of from the primordial is that I exist right from the beginning. All things is said because all the teachers are present in reality, and so are all the teachings, and the retinues manifest in place and time are present in reality. Not a single thing is that is not present in reality. Not a single thing is that is not present in reality. This reality, which is called inner vigor, is the inner vigor which gives rise to everything. Remember, vigor means like an energy. In the own being of the mind of perfect purity, the three teachers are also coming from this reality. The three teachings are also coming from it, and the retinues appearing in place and time are also coming from that source. As everything comes from it, it is called the central vigor. About me, you should know that as central vigor of the mind itself, I have created all things without exception. All is said with regard to all things or everything. All things, whatever can be recognized as teachers, teachings, retinues, place, and time, creating. I am called master of all of creation. As I have created the teachers, teachings, retinues, place, and time, I am the master of the self-originated pristine awareness. I am called sovereign, and I am superior to everything as the creator of all things and as the inner vigor of the self-originated pristine awareness. The meaning of purity is that it is the central vigor of the mind or perfect purity. The meaning of purity is that it is the central vigor or energy of the mind of perfect purity. By means of the self-originated, which is pure from the primordial, the all-creating sovereign makes everything. Because I am pure in total immaculateness, I am known as the Pure One. Perfect is said in this sense due to the central vigor of the self-originated pristine awareness. All things which appear or exist, in short, the animated and inanimated, as all the Buddhas of the three times, and as the six categories of sentient beings in the three realms, are vastly established and totally perfected in suchness. Therefore, perfect I am called. The meaning of mind is as follows. The central vigor of self-originated pristine awareness discerns with strength the perishable in all that exists as animated and inanimated. Therefore it is known as mind. Discerns with strength the perishable in all that exists as animated and inanimated. Therefore it is known as mind. The causeless and conditionless central vigor exercises power over everything and creates all. O great Bodhisattva, if you understand my own being, you will also understand all the teachers and all the teachings. You will understand the thoughts of the attendants, and the entirety of place and time has become one. Because I am all in everything, you will understand all things. If you understand my own being, therefore by non-striving you will be spontaneously self-perfected in what is totally beyond doing deeds and beyond striving and achieving. Thus she spoke. Beyond doing all deeds and beyond striving and achieving. Because if this is the central vigor of pristine awareness, then just to realize that, to meditate on that, the central vigor of pristine awareness is propelling everything with its suchness. So there's no real effort on your part, when you just kind of realize the central vigor and its connection to totality, and allow it to do its thing and absorb you. After that, the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity instructed Semspa Dorje in the concise meaning of the teachings about her own being. O great Bodhisattva, listen. My own being is like this. Its intrinsic being, Yod, is nothing but one. Its teaching is taught in two aspects. Its origin is revealed in the 9 vehicles. Its integration is integral to the great perfection. Its explicit being, Yin, its explicit being, Yin, is the mind of perfect purity. Its existence, Nas, abides in the dimension of reality. Its luminosity, the space of intuitive wisdom. Its pervasiveness covers the entire animated and inanimated world. Its manifestation manifests as the entirety of what appears and exists. Teaching on it means things do not have fixed characteristics. Seeing it means one will be free from objects of perception. Knowing it means one will not attempt to express it through words. This essential vigor, which does not come from any cause, is free from all fetters created by methods of explanation. If one wishes for a thorough understanding of this matter, one has to take the sky as a simile. The point is that reality is unborn, and that as the main characteristic, the mind is ceaseless. Like the sky, so is reality. By means of the sky as a simile, reality is pointed out. The imperceptible reality is taught by pointing at something else which is imperceptible. The imperceptible reality is taught by pointing at something else which is imperceptible. The reality which cannot be expressed through words is explained through something which is inexplicable. The quintessence of the imperceptible is taught as the main point of a teaching that is joined with similes. The essence of this meaning is given in comments. Thereby you ought to understand the meaning of me. Thereby you will be led to understand the meaning of me. If you don't understand thereby the meaning of me, you will never meet me, regardless of how many words you have learned. If you deviate from me, I shall be veiled, and for this reason you will not obtain the peath of reality. The peath means like the home of reality. Then the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity gave this sermon, that the perfection of all things rests in her own being. O great Bodhisattva, listen to these words. I am the all-creating sovereign, and I have arranged all things from the primordial. I made the things apparent. I will show you my actuating essence. After I show you my own being, I shall point out its meaning in words and sounds, and you'll be able to envisage my actuating essence as taught to you. My own being, when explained, you will understand it as the letter A. Oh, that is so interesting. My own being, when explained, you will understand it as the letter A. That is really, really interesting. In all different versions of traditions, whether it's the Sanskrit tradition or the Judaic tradition, especially in Judaism, the letter Aleph occupies a special place. Also in Islam, in Sanskrit, the first letter is the A, occupies a special place. She's the A, just the continuous becoming, you know what I mean? The A. Constant creative force. Beginning, which is endless beginning. And the beginning is endless because it never really stops. It's just constantly beginning and beginning and beginning. So, Aleph goes on and on and on and on. Is how I interpret it. Every time you check, there, a new beginning is possible, because the central vigor of reality is constantly flowing from the void, the bindu, which is located at the third eye and also at the root chakra, animating the body and the soul and everything of your own being, which is in the nature of suchness, of the primordial reality. Connected to it is it. By means of speaking these words, you will perceive the meaning. Such she said, and did not say anything more. She abided in the actuating essence of all things. Because of that Semtla Semspa arose from amidst the attendant and sat with a somber face in front of the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity. The all-creating sovereign, O great Bodhisattva, you are sitting here before me in a somber mood. Ask what you wish to know. Then Semtla Dorje asked, O teacher of teachers, all-creating sovereign, if all things are your own being, what then did you establish as teachers, teaching, and retinues? What are the perfect entities? The question he asked. This question he asked. Then the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity, spoke these words. O great Bodhisattva, listen. Things are made in a perfect manner. This is so because I am the nature of perfection. I shall show you my own being. Because my own being is non-conceptual and uncreated, I have made things as to exist in the realm of reality. They do not rest on anything else but the mind of perfect purity. They do not rest on anything else but the mind of perfect purity. As my own being is immaculate and all-pervasive, the things do not rest upon anything else but on the self-originated awareness itself in the mansion of awareness, i.e. the lucid sky. As I am the central vigor of all things which come into existence, i.e. the 5 great elements, the threefold world, the 6 categories of sentient beings, they are nothing else but my form, utterance, and spirit. I have established the things as my own being. I am revealing to you the Buddhas of the 3 times and the sentient beings of the threefold world as my own being. Because my actuating essence is unborn and non-conceptual, it does not exist but transcends all areas of perception. It even transcends the objects of meditation and does not become apparent in mental absorption. Although my own being is imperceptible, I reveal my actuation to you as the threefold world consisting of 5 great elements and the 6 categories of sentient beings. From the 5 elements which are apparent from my apparent form of my own being, from the 5 elements which are the apparent form of my own being, i.e. the perfect and pure mind, come the self-originated and vigorous awarenesses. The 5 awarenesses bring forth the 5 essential objects. After the 5 desires have come forth, the 5 passions come forth. The 5 passions bring their individual results, which individually appear as the 6 categories of the sentient beings. I am teaching you the appearance of the universe to be like that. Even if I taught you the 3 forms of manifestation and the 6 vehicles, you would not understand them. Each of them, i.e. teachers, 3 forms of manifestation and the 6 vehicles, is endowed with my true being in an individual fashion, and each of them is my actuation in individual fashion as form, utterance, and spirit. I believe they're talking about the Nirmanakaya as form, the Shambhakaya as utterance, and Dharmakaya as spirit. The individual actuation lets you see the whole. In such way, my own being is also taught. I, as the mind of perfect purity, the actuating essence of all that is pure, let emerge from me the play of the threefold world and the 6 categories of sentient beings, because I am actuating the dimension of the non-conceptual, and I am the existential ground of all Buddhas. Particularly, I teach that if you are not mistaken about the pure, all acts of happiness and misery are my compassion. I teach that if you are not mistaken about the pure, all acts of happiness and misery are my compassion. I, the all-creating, will not teach such lore to those who adhere to the vehicle of cause and result. If I taught them my lore as definitive, they would praise and slander on me. They would cast praise and slander on me, the all-pure, as they assert that cause and result do exist because of good and bad acts. For this reason they will not meet me, the all-pure one, for a long time. I am the teacher, the all-creating one, the mind of perfect purity. The mind of perfect purity is the all-creating sovereign. The mind of perfect purity creates the Buddhas of the 3 times. The mind of perfect purity creates the sentient beings living in the threefold world. The mind of perfect purity creates what appears and exists as the animated and inanimated world. To bring the concepts of cause, result, simile, objective, and definition into agreement with this teaching, you ought to know at the time of cause, the 5 great elements are created. At the time of result, the sentient beings in threefold world are created. At the time of simile, the sky as a simile of everything is created. At the time of meaning, the unborn is made by me as the meaning of everything. At the time of sign, the all-creating mind of perfect purity is revealed. At the time of definition, the self-originated awareness is taught. This is how cause, result, simile, meaning, and definition are brought into agreement with this teaching. By means of the mind of perfect purity, all is made. Not one thing is not made by it, the all-creating's own being. The mind of perfect purity has made all, and not one is that is not made by it. There is no reason for itself to be created. My own being, the all-creating one, is beyond cognition, but I am perceived with certainty in the things I have created. By means of a longing desire, the appearance of these things is achieved, but they will perish because of their impermanent and illusory nature, a nature which is impartial like a man born blind. Although the all-creating sovereign is impartial in her creating, the senses get obstructed when they experience suffering, when the 6 sensory objects are perceived by the 6 sense faculties. For this reason, the all-creating sovereign is impartial in her creation. Thus, no result does exist which could annihilate cessation and origination. Certainly, the 2 truths arise from this one, i.e., the mind of perfect purity. The ultimate and the conventional arise as 2, existent and non-existent, despite the fact that reality is created by me, the all-creating one. Therefore, the 2 truths do not lead to the overcoming of cause and result. Within the concept of 2 truths, no result is achieved, which leads to the overcoming of cause and result. By engaging in a contemplation which attempts to purify and search what does not exist, and in a meditation of wonderful steps which will never arise, you will not achieve a result which is free of pursuing and rejecting. Who contemplates the 3 aspects of a single-purpose meditation, and who performs a step-by-step meditation in accord with the 4 practices of religious services and evoking the gods, will not achieve a result which overcomes striving and achieving, that which is totally free of activity and which acts because it is spontaneously self-perfected. Because I teach the unborn, signless, selfless, you should understand the inexplicable as being free of praise and dispraise. A simile for all things being the mind of perfect purity is that all things created are in their own being like the sky. This is the main point of the mind of perfect purity. Sky, wind, water, earth, and fire, these 5 elements come miraculously forth from the mind of perfect purity, as Buddhas, the threefold world, the 5 paths, and the 6 categories of sentient beings. The apparent yet immutable Akshobhya Buddha, whose deeds are well ripened, is from the primordial, the perfect purity of the threefold world as expressed in form, utterance, and spirit. The apparent yet immutable Akshobhya Buddha, whose deeds are well ripened, is from the primordial, the perfect purity of the 3 world as expressed in form, utterance, and spirit. Therefore, whatever appears as animated and inanimated has consequently no place to exist except in the mind of perfect purity, like the center of the sky which exists only in itself. Because of the vast scope of the mind of perfect purity as the actual object, all that appears and exists as animated and inanimated, i.e. Buddhas and sentient beings, is free of praise and dispraise, is non-dual and is non-dual insofar as all is entirely pure reality. Who does not see the mind as the vigor of non-being will not achieve the goal for many eons. Who does not see the mind as the vigor of non-being will not achieve the goal for many eons. The root of all things is alone the mind of perfect purity, the vigor of perfect purity from which all and everything comes forth, i.e. Buddhas, sentient beings, all that appears and exists as animated and inanimated, cannot be expressed through counting what is not even one. Also, the Buddha's form and utterance, and the sentient being's body and speech are the mind of perfect purity, and therefore they are free from such concepts as subject and object. Who accomplishes freedom from such concepts as subject and object will master the root of all things, and will be known as all accomplished. With joy one will recognize an understanding of what constitutes thinking, the uniqueness of the mind of perfect purity. I teach what is beyond reckoning and duality. How is it that the own nature of reality is the sole mind, and that the three aspects of this own nature make the mind manifest? The three aspects of this own nature are the three best arrangements, and this is the reality of perfection. This is one nature, although non-dual is connected with everything. If it is put in relationship with balance, it unfolds into four aspects, the four yogas, as the objects of my teaching. I teach the one mind permeating the five great elements. Because the mind's own being is endowed with five faculties, they are called the five great elements. If judgments regarding the existence or non-existence of the one, that is, the definitive, would arise, then these many errors, obscurations, doubts, and judgmental thoughts are removed by the all-creating one who transcends striving, achieving, and judgmental thought. To purge these judgments regarding existence and non-existence and the resulting doubts, I establish this unerring and definitive lore because those other people cannot understand the perfect purity through suchness. The perfect purity through suchness. In order to show you that this lore clearly deserves your faith, I teach the ultimate, which is free of striving, achieving, and deeds by means of the 10 instructions, which deserve your faith and which let you avoid deviation, so trust them. The proclamation of the 9 words of truth which are non-existent. As to the one vigor, 9 visible objects emerge. If they are individually recognized, one speaks of the 9 words of truth. Because in me, the all-creating one, all is consummate, you should foster your understanding, the meaning of the perfect and pure mind. The root of all things is the all-creating one, the mind of perfect purity. Whatever appears is my actuation. Whatever comes into existence is my wonder. Whatever sounds and words arise, all arise as sounds and words of my intrinsic meaning. The Buddha's form, wisdom, and qualities, the sentient being's body, karmic inheritance, etc., what appears and exists as animated and inanimated. This altogether is from the primordial, the actuation of the mind of perfect purity. With the exception of the mind, from me all things have come forth. With the exception of the mind, from me all things have come forth. With the exception of the mind, from me all things have come forth. The previous Buddhas did not teach these sacred instructions now given by me, the all-creating sovereign, and the presently residing and the future Buddhas will not teach these sacred instructions of the perfect purity, the all-creating sovereign. Such she spoke. After that, the all-creating sovereign mind of perfect purity taught how the things which emerged from the creation done by her became the things in their particularity. O great Bodhisattva, how is the mind of the actuation of reality? How is it that all particularity is totally absent in the non-dual great bliss? What is known as the fathomless, one transcends all perceptible What is known as the fathomless, one transcends all perceptible objects and dwells from the primordial and non-conceptual state, just like the sky. No simile permits one to fathom the mind of perfect purity. The things created by the mind are purified of particularities. It is said that whatever is created by the mind, i.e. whatever appears and exists as the animated and inanimated world, the Buddhas and sentient beings, is produced from the mind's own being and as its actuation. I shall now teach you how the universe manifests after it was produced. The 5 great elements and the appearing of the 6 categories of sentient beings realize their purpose through form and body. They become measurable after they emerge from the pure own being of the mind. I think the focus on her as the central vigor was to emphasize the dynamic nature of the absolute reality. It's not just a male force, but actually the actual active energy which is tying everything together is here described as the fundamental source and the absolute reality from which apparently everything except the mind has arisen. I'm wondering if the mind would then be represented as Samantabhadra Buddha, or where Samantabhadra even fits into this equation. He can't be separated from Samantabhadra, but anyway, we're definitely going to take some more reflecting and thinking and reading about. And from one angle they're right, but ultimately there is, because they're implying even a svabhava on no svabhava. Everything has to be some kind of essence. You can't get away from it. So they just juggle and play word games and... Anyway. Let's see. It might be linked to the notion of Tathagata Garbha, which is stated to be the pure essence at the very heart of mind. However, all figures, i.e. Samantabhadra, Vairocha, and Vajratara, are traditionally understood to be personifications of emptiness, the true nature of all phenomena. Although emptiness is not a major theme of this particular Tantra, this being is the personification of sunyata, or emptiness. That all phenomena lack true existence, yet still appear, this basis that is found in all phenomena. Other Tibetan traditions envision this Tantra different manner and see it not as a negative envision this Tantra in a different manner and see it not as a negative emptiness, but a fullness and an all-fulfilling perfection of Buddha who asks questions and clarification. This tantric work is the principal Mind series, text of Dzogchen View, the Nyingma sect of Himalayan Mantrayana. So in the Kulayarāja Tantra, Samantabhadra tells of how that he, the all-creating king, is the essence of all things, beings, and all Buddhas, and that to know him, the awakened mind, is to attain the essence of reality. He says, I am the existential ground of the Buddhas, and the root of all things is nothing else but one self. I am the place in which all things abide. O you sentient beings of this, for a being to recognize their own bodhicitta, or Samantabhadra Buddha, eternally existent, is to be liberated. Because sentient beings and all their phenomena arise because of bodhicitta, or mind of perfect purity, Samantabhadra refers to them in his teaching as his children. Samantabhadra Buddha states, O all you sentient beings of this threefold world, i.e. the entire universe, both visible and invisible, because I, the all-creating sovereign, have created you, you are my children and equal to me. Because you are not second to me, I am present in you. O you sentient beings of this threefold world, if I were not, you would be non-existent, because all things do not exist outside of me. I firmly declare that I am all, the all-creating one. Samantabhadra also insists, everything is me, the all-creating sovereign, mind of perfect purity. I am the cause of all things. I am the stem of all things. I am the ground of all things. I am the root of all things. There is no other Buddha besides me, the all-creating one. It belongs to the nature of the unconditioned primal awareness or awakened mind that is eternal, indestructible, and radiant with light. The characteristic of the self originated, pristine awareness is indestructibility, which is known as the place where all is light. Also, quote unquote, the three aspects of my nature are known to the three aspects of my nature are to be known as follows: 1. Unborn, 2. Without termination, and 3. The source for the wonder of ceaseless creation. My own being, my svabhava, is the sole reality. This ultimate basis of reality, Samantabhadra Buddha, is also occasionally termed Rigpa. It is taught to reside in all beings and to be realizable. It is wisdom, the immortal essence, that is beyond thinking, and which permeates the nature and mind of all things. It is the spontaneous thought-transcending instant presence of all-encompassing awareness. It might be linked to the notion of Tathagata Garbha, which is interesting because when I was reading this, it reminds me exactly of the kind of style of the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, which talked about the Tathagata Garbha. The style is very much in the affirmative, talking about things which transcend even Buddhism, which transcend especially the Theravada interpretation, the Hinayana interpretation, which transcend the small view of the teachings. A Theravada Buddhist would recoil at what all of this is talking about. They would say there's no svabhava.
Shakti Seer 2.
I read a lot of Wikipedia articles all the time. I'm reading Wikipedia articles, and I came into this information about Samantabhadra, and I had researched it before, but I really didn't know too much about it, and I had researched some things about the Adi Buddha, which is what Samantabhadra is, before, but I didn't find too much information about it, although I was really interested to find out more about it. And then recently, on a Wikipedia page, I saw mention of the Kulayarāja Tantra, which means the all-creating king Tantra. The all-creating king Tantra is a Buddhist Tantra extant in Tibet, which centers upon the direct teachings of the primordial ultimate Buddha, Adi Buddha Samantabhadra, it says on the Wikipedia article. Samantabhadra is presented or personified in this Tantric Buddhist text as Bodhicitta, the awakened mind, the mind of perfect purity. In Kunjed Galpo, Samantabhadra discourses to Vajrasattva